Today we're making chili garlic tofu baos served with a quick pickled veg. This dish today is inspired by an Indo-Chinese dish called chili paneer, and it's the perfect combination of sweet, tangy, spicy flavors wrapped in a soft, fluffy bun. So today's chili garlic tofu recipe is based on Meera Sodha's recipe, which I got from her latest cookbook, East. It's full of vegetarian and vegan recipes from South Asia, East Asia, and Southeast Asia. And if you're looking for more plant-based recipes, then I definitely recommend her book. It's got a ton of great recipes in here, and it's also really pretty, so it'll look great on your bookshelf. I've left a link to her book down below in case you're interested in getting one for yourselves. So for those of you who don't know, Indo-Chinese cuisine is actually unique to India, where Chinese immigrants who moved to India in the late 18th century combined Indian spices and ingredients with Chinese flavors. The cuisine is thought to have originated in Calcutta, which actually had the most Chinese immigrants at the time, and in fact there's still a small Chinese community that lives there. And now Indo-Chinese cuisine is really popular, and one of the most famous dishes is chili paneer. So today I'm actually going to be using tofu, but feel free to use paneer, chicken, prawns, whatever you want. Before we start on our chili tofu, we're just going to quickly make our pickled veg. This is optional, but I do highly recommend that you make it. It really adds a punch of acidity to the dish that amplifies all the other flavors. And even though it's a quick pickle, we still need to make it first, as it needs at least half an hour before it's ready to eat. For the pickled veg, we'll need 1 carrot, quartered and then sliced into 1 centimeter strips. We're going to do the same with the cucumber, but because the cucumber is softer, we're going to cut it into slightly wider strips. Add them to a sterilized jar, and if you want it spicy, you can also add 2 chopped red chilies to the jar. Add 1 cup of rice wine vinegar, and then add 1 teaspoon of sugar, 1 teaspoon of salt, and shake it till it all dissolves. You probably won't use all of this for the recipe, but it will keep in your fridge for up to 2 weeks. Now we'll just set it aside for at least 30 minutes. Just a note on the pickled veg, the amount of vinegar you use will depend on the type of vinegar you use and how acidic it is. So rice wine vinegar, for example, is quite mild, so 1 cup is fine. But if you're going to use white vinegar, for example, then you'll just want to use maybe half a cup of that and dilute it with half a cup of water. Now we'll get started on our chili tofu. I've got a 500 gram block of tofu here. I've rinsed it, and now you just want to pat it dry with a paper towel, pressing down to get as much water out of it as possible. I've got a pretty thick block of tofu over here, so I'm just going to cut this in thirds and then slice it into 2 centimeter long pieces. Then dust the tofu with corn flour. You'll need about a 1/4 cup of corn flour for this much tofu, tossing to make sure all the sides of the tofu gets coated. Then to a skillet, add about 4 tablespoons of oil, or just enough to coat the bottom of the pan. Let it heat up, and then add the tofu pieces to the skillet, frying each side till golden brown. So I've made a few tweaks here and there to Meera Sodha's recipe, but this is probably where I've differed the most. So in her recipe, she actually says to deep fry the tofu pieces, but I'm just shallow frying because I think that works just as well, and you end up using less oil as well, so you know, win-win. And if you've noticed, I'm also using chopsticks. I find it's much easier to get hold of the tofu pieces this way, but feel free to use tongs as well. Once all the tofu cubes are golden brown, lay them out on a paper towel and set that aside while we work on our sauce. To the same skillet, we're going to add 2 teaspoons of cumin seeds and 1 diced brown onion, sauteing for about 5 to 10 minutes till the onions are soft and sweet. The natural sugars in the onion will caramelize and give it a pleasant sweetness, but it does need some time for that to happen, so just be patient and stir occasionally to make sure the onions don't burn. Once the onions are golden, add 6 to 8 sliced garlic cloves and grate a 3 centimeter piece of ginger straight into the pan. I grate the ginger straight in without peeling the skin. I find you lose too much of the ginger if you peel the skin, so I just go straight in. Next, we're going to add 4 green chilies, 2 of them slit down the middle and 2 of them finely chopped. I'm using small Indian chilies here, but any type of green chilies will work just as well. Saute for a couple of minutes and then add 2 tablespoons of tomato paste, 2 tablespoons of soy sauce, 2 teaspoons of sugar, a good pinch of pepper and salt to taste. Mix well and let the sauce cook for a couple of minutes so all the flavors come together. Now we're going to add the capsicum or peppers depending on where you're from. I'm using a small red and green one today, mainly for the colors, but you can use any color that you have. Just thinly slice them lengthwise, add them to the pan and mix it in with the sauce. Next, we're going to add 1/3 cup of water and cover, letting it all cook and letting the capsicum soften. Keep an eye out on the sauce and add more water if you think it's looking too dry. You want to have just enough sauce to coat the tofu. Once the capsicum has softened, throw in the tofu and mix everything together. Now, you're more than welcome to eat this as is. You've got the heat from the chilies, you've got the sourness from the tomato paste, you've got the sweetness from the onions, and there's still a bit of crunch from the capsicum and the fried tofu. But the baos are a very nice vehicle for this, so I do recommend carrying on and trying it with the baos. So I've got over here frozen baos from the Asian store. You are more than welcome to make your own, of course. In fact, I think Meera Sodha has got a recipe in her book for one, but we're just going to keep it easy today and just go for good old frozen. So they're all different types of baos. The ones over here, they're typically used in a Gua Bao, which is a street food from Taiwan, and it typically has some sort of meat filling in it, pickled veg, coriander garnish, and a peanut garnish. So very similar to how we're having it today. So you should have no problems finding these in your local Asian store. Sometimes they're even labeled as sandwich buns. So yeah, just keep a lookout for that. And just a little tip for you guys as well, for those of you who don't know, baos actually mean buns. So when you refer to them, just say baos. Don't say bao buns, because that's kind of like saying bun buns, you know, just like how it's not chai tea, it's just chai. So there's a little tip for you guys. To get these ready to eat, just leave them to thaw, and then once it's at room temperature, steam the buns for 5 to 8 minutes. You can use a bamboo steamer and wok like I have, or you can use a metal steamer over a pot as well. Just make sure you don't add too much water at the bottom of the pan. You just want enough to create steam. Now, if you don't have a steamer, that's okay. You can just microwave the baos for about a minute. But you'll want to make sure that you're ready to eat them right away, because they will harden up pretty quickly. Once they're nice, soft and fluffy and they open up easily, that's when it's ready to go. Now all there is to do is add the garlic chili tofu to the baos, making sure to get some red and green capsicum in there as well. Add a few pieces of the pickled carrot and cucumber and garnish with crushed peanuts, coriander and a squeeze of lime. I really hope you guys enjoy this recipe. As I said, the chili garlic tofu is great on its own, but do try it with the baos and pickled veg. And let me know what you guys thought of the recipe in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, please do give it a like. That's always appreciated. And subscribe if you want to see more. See you in the next one. Bye.